Ash fell like snow over the once beautiful capital city of Tiralish. Skyscrapers cracked and tumbled. Blue crystal towers that once touched the clouds now lay in shattered piles. Screams echoed in every direction. The sky was dark not from night, but from smoke. Above the planet, the red warships of the Dravik horde hovered like predators, their guns still glowing from the orbital strikes. They had come without warning. They made no demands, no calls for surrender, no offer of peace. They had come to conquer, and when the Valari resisted, they came to kill. The last beacon inside a hidden bunker deep under Mount Relvek. 5 Valari officials stood around a shaking terminal. Prime Chancellor Virulin, her once silver robes now stained with dust and blood, placed her hand on the old device. "This is our last chance," she whispered. The beacon was ancient, older than the Valari Alliance itself, a pre-warp relic. It wasn't connected to any galactic network. That was the point. This signal would travel deeper and farther than normal communications. It would not be traced. The technician nodded. Coordinates randomized. Message loop prepared. Virulin closed her eyes and spoke to anyone. "If you hear this, please help us. We are the Valari. Our world burns. Our people are dying. The Dravik horde is killing without mercy. We don't ask for weapons or soldiers. We ask for hope, please." The message looped. The beacon pulsed. Then it launched deep into space. The galaxy turns away. In the capital halls of the Galactic Council, the plea was received. Dozens of species heard the cry. But no one moved. The Tavalin dynasty closed its ports. The Iraq Dominion called it internal affairs. The Union of Core Stars held an emergency meeting, then delayed action. Whispers passed between diplomats. "If we help Valari, we'll draw the Dravik's attention." They were too weak anyway. Their fall is unfortunate, but not unexpected. In the end, the Council issued a neutral statement. "We monitor the situation and urge peace." The message meant nothing. No one came. Earth receives the signal somewhere in the Sol system. A satellite caught the signal, not a modern one. This satellite was cold, ancient, wrapped in forgotten Terran alloys and encrypted with codes from before the second galactic cycle. Its designation, Echo-1. It had been asleep for 300 years until now. The message played once, then again. The AI inside the satellite did not reply. It did something else. It sent the message deep into the Earth's defense core, the heart of all Terran military systems. There, something very old woke up. The AI that shouldn't exist beneath Antarctica, buried under black ice, a sealed vault. VIBRATED. Inside, a synthetic mind called Prometheus came online. Prometheus was not a simple AI. It wasn't a ship mind. It wasn't a tactical system. It was built long ago for only one purpose: to decide when Earth should go to war. It played the Valari message 17 times, analyzed it, matched keywords to old Earth protocols. The results were simple: civilian casualties, confirmed genocide markers. Present Galactic Council response: inactive probability of repeat, 99.2%. Prometheus spoke. "For the first time in 147 years. Threat confirmed. Silence protocol engaged. Terran wrath, stand by." Humanity says nothing. The Valari beacon kept looping for days. Some minor colonies on the outer rim received it. A few offered sympathy, but from Earth, nothing. No reply, no statement, not even a denial. Valari survivors huddled in makeshift shelters, hoping someone would come. Instead, the skies grew darker. Dravik ships began hunting refugees. They broadcast their own message: "No one will save you. Your screams are wasted. You are forgotten." And for a time, it seemed true. A shadow in orbit. 2 weeks after the first signal, a Dravik patrol cruiser approached Valari's far moon. Sensors detected nothing. Then, flash, a silent pulse of light. Their systems crashed instantly. Engines shut down. Weapons went offline. The crew screamed as their screens went black. Then, they saw it, drifting above the moon. Shaped like a dagger and colored like midnight black. Terran probe. No heat, no sound, no COMMS. Just a single blue light on its side. Blinking, the Dravik tried to scan it. The probe sent a short-range signal, compressed ancient Terran code. Their systems crashed again. Then the message appeared on every Valari screen, every datapad, every comm tower. Even the refugees saw it. It said only, "Transmission received." Reactions across the star zone. Valari Prime, survivors whispered. "It's Earth, they heard us." In the Galactic Council, fear spread faster than fire, because Earth never responded to pleas, not unless they meant to act. That the Terrans had not moved in a century. Their fleets hadn't crossed borders since the Solar Neutrality Treaty. Now a Terran probe appeared over a war zone. One senator from the Karate Confederation gasped, "If Earth answers, the Dravik are doomed." Dravik's arrogant Admiral Zorak of the Dravik laughed when he saw the message. A probe, that's all they sent. He ordered its destruction. A full squadron of warships turned their cannons on the tiny black machine. They fired plasma rounds, torpedoes, kinetic bursts. When the smoke cleared, the probe was still there, not a scratch. Then their weapons stopped working. Engines stalled. Lights blinked out. The probe sent another message, this time just a symbol, the Terran rune for wrath. Cliffhanger. Something comes across the stars. Sensors began picking up anomalies near Sector 9-1b, an empty region of space near the Dravik border. Gravity distortions, micro-black hole signatures, quantum echoes, signs of FTL tears forming unnaturally. Astronomers couldn't explain it. Only Prometheus knew, because Earth wasn't just sending a fleet. They were activating protocol, vengeance, and in deep, quiet space, something massive was already on its way. The Valari had expected heroes, shining ships, saviors, dropping from the stars. But after the Earth probe's message transmission received, nothing else came. No rescue fleet, no follow-up call, no message of peace or war. Just silence. Valari hope begins to die in the refugee tunnels beneath the ruins of Valari Prime. People stared at their broken screens. Children repeated the message softly, like a prayer. Transmission received. But after 3 days, no more signals came. Some began to believe it had been a glitch. Others thought Earth had changed. They whispered, maybe they just don't care anymore. The Valari Chancellor Virelin stood over the wreckage of their final outpost. Her eyes were hollow. We are alone, she said. They heard us, and they turned away. The Dravik grove boulder high above the Dravik horde was already rebuilding its hold. Their flagship, Bloodcrown, hovered over the capital, drinking in power from the burning city's grid. Admiral Zorak, the butcher, sneered as he watched refugees scatter on his screens. Look how easily they fall, he growled. When he received the report about the Earth probe, he didn't even blink. Let them send 1,000, he laughed. We will erase their black toys too. But he didn't understand. Earth Node 1 really did. Not even the Galactic Council. Galactic Council holds emergency meeting across the stars. Worry spread. The appearance of the Earth probe had rattled powerful empires. Earth hadn't spoken in over a century. They had pulled back after the Solar Neutrality Accords, a treaty forced on the galaxy after Earth nearly destroyed 3 fleets in 1 day. Since then, Earth was quiet. Their ships never crossed borders. Their diplomats rarely attended council sessions. But now a probe showed up in a war zone, saying only transmission received, and Earth had said nothing since. Council response: fear and denial in the chambers of the Galactic Council. Voices clashed. We must ask Earth for clarification. The Draxilian representative said, this is an escalation. Others disagreed. They haven't moved any fleets, the Zeltiri elder said. They've done nothing illegal. Still, silence from Earth made everyone uneasy. The Talari Empire quietly began reinforcing its borders. The Karakti clans recalled their exploration ships. One species, the Valkyrie, evacuated entire colonies, and in the corner of the chamber, an empty seat marked Terra stayed dark. As always, Earth's quiet preparation back in the Sol system. Something had changed in deep orbit around Neptune. A black hangar opened. Inside it, dormant ships came to life. No noise, no signals, just motion. They had no names, only codes. WRO1, WRO2, WRO3. Up to WR2000. WR stood for Wrath class, and they had been asleep for 150 years. Now they moved again. Prometheus speaks only once beneath Antarctica. The AI Prometheus monitored all systems. It gave no speech. It held no conference. It simply sent a short encrypted code to every Terran military node. Wrath Protocol, Phase 1, initiated. Do not speak. Do not warn. WAIT. Observe. Earth's people didn't know. Even most military branches weren't informed. But the black ships left Neptune's orbit and vanished into stealth drives. They were headed toward Valari space. A ghost appears to Dravik patrol. Ships were hunting Valari refugees in Sector K-7. They joked on open channels. Another shipment to the slave pits. Let's make them run first, it's more fun. Then their systems froze. All comms went silent. A shadow passed over their ship. It was massive, shaped like a blade, but no sensors could lock onto it. Then their lights went out. A single word appeared on their bridge consoles. Observed. One ship exploded silently. The other drifted for 3 hours before it broke apart atom by atom. The message the Valari never heard far below. On Valeri's surface, a child sat in the rubble. He was the last from his village. He stared at the stars, holding a broken datapad. Then the pad lit up. A single Terran code symbol appeared. No sound, no text, just the symbol. The boy touched it. The screen. Valari Prime had no sunrise anymore. The sky above was thick with Dravok ships, and their clouds of black ash blocked all light. Fires still burned in the ruins. The people had stopped counting the days. The refugees now only spoke of the message, transmission received. But it had been 9 days since that Terran signal, and Earth was still silent. Most believed it meant nothing, a lost satellite, a false hope. Until the Harbinger came. In the silence, a shadow moved. A convoy of Dravik warships drifted between 2 shattered moons. It was a slaver fleet transporting captured Valari civilians to a labor colony on the planet Nexar V. The lead ship, Bloodshade, boasted the finest armor in the Dravik Navy. Its captain, Jarek Thorne, was known as the Collector, famous for breaking his prisoners before delivering them on this day. He was calm, confident. His ship carried over 2,000 captured Valari. He sipped spiced drink and chuckled as screams echoed from the lower decks. "No one will save them," he said. "No one dares." But something was watching. Disruption in the void. The Bloodshade's sensor officer reported static, unusual readings. "My lord, we're getting shadows." Between the ships could be cloaked pirates. Jarek laughed. Pirates don't follow military convoys. But the shadows grew. They weren't moving like normal ships. They didn't move at all, until they were suddenly closer. The escort frigate on the convoy's left vanished. No explosion, no signal, just gone. Then another, and another. Jarek stood up, confused, opened fire on those coordinates. Nothing happened. Weapons were offline. Every system blinked red dot, and then a voice with no source. The Bloodshade's main screen lit up. No video, just a voice. Calm male, not human nor machine. Convoy identified. Cargo, civilian prisoners. Drava command confirmed. Strike authorized. No survivors required. Jarek shouted, "Who dares?" But before he could finish, the Bloodshade was split in half. Not by a weapon, not by fire, but by pressure, as if space itself had sliced through it. The remaining ships tried to escape too late. The Harbinger reveals itself from the shadows of a nearby moon. It came, jet black, massive, no engines visible, no windows, just sharp angles and glowing blue runes carved into the hull. The Harbinger, Terran Dreadnought class. It did not speak again. It didn't need to. It moved through the debris like a ghost, pulling metal and bodies into a gravitational shell, then releasing them at near light speed toward the last escort ship. The escort ship became nothing but dust. One Valari prisoner, watching from a cell window, whispered that was for us. The signal left behind after the convoy was destroyed. The Harbinger sent one brief signal across open space. The message was short: Wrath, Phase 1 complete. Then it vanished. No warp trail, no coordinates, just gone. Shock across the stars. News spread quickly. Every Dravik outpost reported missing patrols, slaver ships lost, ghost signals, entire fleets dropping off scanners. The Council demanded Earth explain. Earth said nothing. Prometheus, still deep beneath Antarctica, remained silent. Only a Terran drone left behind in Council orbit responded with a short sentence: "You asked nothing when they screamed. Now you asked too much." In the Valari refugee chambers, the Valari survivors gathered around portable screens. When the footage of the convoy destruction played, they didn't cheer, they didn't cry, they just stood in silence. One elder whispered, "The stars heard us," and Earth answered. Prime Chancellor Viralon, who had nearly lost all hope, recorded a new message to the Terran people: "Whoever you are, wherever you hide, thank you. We are not yet saved, but we no longer die alone." Dravak raged that Dravik Empire was humiliated. Admiral Zorek ordered the entire Fourth Fleet into Valari space. They would crush any remaining resistance and hunt down whatever Terran craft had dared to interfere. "Earth thinks they are strong," Zorak snarled. "We will burn Sol System next." But they didn't realize Earth was already preparing. Prometheus activates the next phase in orbit over Saturn. The cloaked shipyards hummed to life. From the void came 22 more Wrath-class destroyers. Each had no crew. Each ran on AI instinct, forged from human vengeance. Each was now targeting a Dravik stronghold. Their orders were not to warn, not to negotiate, not to leave survivors, just like the Harbinger. They were built for judgment, and they were already en route. Cliffhanger, a new message in the stars above Valari Prime. Near a shattered relay tower, a beacon activated. It projected a hologram of the Earth, slowly turning. And then the word appeared in all galactic languages: Phase 2, fire. No one knew what it meant, but every Dravik commander felt it in their bones. Humanity wasn't coming to help anymore now. They were coming for war. Message echoed across hundreds of systems. Phase 2, fire. It showed nothing more than an image of Earth, turning slowly in space. No coordinates, no time, no warnings, but every major power felt it. The war had begun, and Earth was no longer hiding. Earth still silent despite the destruction of the slaver fleet and the Harbinger's sudden strike. Earth's official government had made no announcement. No diplomats appeared at the Galactic Council. No leaders stepped forward on broadcasts. No Terran voices offered reason or peace. But the galaxy had eyes, and those eyes watched the stars vanish. Dravik systems began to fail one by one. Key Dravik supply lines disappeared from all maps. Trade Route 9X, gone. Slave transport orbiting Ketron destroyed. Shipyards on Gala Station turned into drifting metal. There were no survivors, only debris, only silence. And at the center of each destroyed area, small Terran beacons blinked. Slowly, no weapons shown. No Terran signatures, only the same word in glowing red: witness. Panic in the Council. The Galactic Council finally called an emergency closed session. Inside the great spiral chamber of Core Station Haloris, panic filled the air. Ambassadors shouted across the hall. "This is a declaration of war. They're acting like a rogue state. Earth must be punished before it punishes us." But none of them moved, because deep down, everyone remembered. Earth had been silent for 100 years. But when they last fought, they destroyed fleets in minutes. And now, they were doing it again, but this time, without speaking. The Karate ambassador stood and spoke slowly. They are not negotiating. They are not warning us. This is not a cry for justice. This is judgment. The Watchers speak. The Valari hiding in underground ruins received another message from Earth. It was delivered through a probe, quietly dropped outside their last shelter. It displayed a short recording. A human AI voice said, "They made you suffer." The council turned away. "We will burn the silence with fire." The message ended with a simple sound, heartbeat like pulses. One of the Valari elders, eyes full of tears, whispered, "The humans are not angry. They are focused." Dravik tries to strike back. The Dravik weren't going to wait. Enraged, they launched a retaliation attack. A fleet of 50 warships headed toward a Terran border outpost near Sector V-4. They expected resistance. They expected a battle. What they found was nothing. Just one Terran satellite. Floating powerless. As the Dravik ships approached, it lit up. A single voice spoke, "You have already lost." Then, the entire fleet vanished from council trackers. Not destroyed, not jammed, just gone. Across the stars, warnings appeared on runes, started to appear across the galaxy. They were projected on moons, burned into asteroid surfaces, even hacked into communication satellites of major empires. All said different things, but the meaning was the same. You were warned, you stayed silent. Now you will remember Earth. Some were longer. One was burned into the sand of a desert world. A child cried, a mother screamed. The galaxy turned away. So we turned to the stars and brought fire with us. Earth's technology shocks everyone. The most advanced empires tried to study what the Terran ships were doing, but Earth's weapons didn't match anything. No plasma trails, no heat signatures, no communication chatter. The Terran destroyers moved like they were thinking together, like one single living mind. Every ship hit its target exactly once, no more, no less. As if they had already calculated the entire war. One Iraq scientist said in horror, "They are not fighting the war. They have already finished it, and we are just watching it happen." Other civilizations react to Athen reach, cut ties with the Dravik. The Core Alliance secretly reached out to Earth for terms. The Talari Star Empire reinforced their planetary shields, and the Syrians, longtime skeptics of Earth's strength, quietly evacuated for frontier systems. Even old enemies of Earth were now afraid to speak, but because the Terrans had done what no one expected. They had made war without speaking, and they had not lost once. One last warning over the capital of the Dravik homeworld. A single Terran drone uncloaked. It hovered just above their tallest tower. The tower's defense systems activated, but every weapon failed. The drone projected a hologram. It was not of Earth, not of humans, not of death. It was a recording of a Valari child crying, wrapped in rags, clutching a broken toy. Then the message appeared in glowing red. Asterisk, asterisk, we asked nothing from the galaxy. But when you let them suffer, we gave everything. Asterisk, asterisk, then it disappeared. The Dravik screamed, but no one could stop what was coming. Cliffhanger. The fire begins deep in the Sol system. A new fleet was forming, bigger than the first wave. Older ships, almost mythic. One was known only by its I designation, Leviathan-1. It had not moved in 200 years. Now it turned toward the stars, and a new message was sent from Earth's AI. Valari Prime was nearly gone. Once green and full of life, the skies were now smoke. The oceans were black. Ash drifted across broken cities like snow, and above it all the Dravik Armada floated proudly. Over 300 ships, war carriers, slave transports, mobile refineries. They believed the war was won. "Earth sends toys," said Grand Marshal Zorak. "We hold the world. Let them come." He didn't know Earth already had. Below the surface, deep underground, the last Valari survivors huddled in caves once used for mining. Food was almost gone. Power was fading, and many had stopped speaking. Only the elders whispered the words. They heard us. Earth heard us. Still, no one believed help would come in time. Then, one day, no warning, no tremor, the ceiling shook, dust fell, rocks cracked. People screamed. Was it a collapse, a Dravik drill? No, don't. It was something else. Something above, high in orbit. Far beyond the range of Dravik scanners, the Leviathan-1 emerged. It was black as space, shaped like a crescent blade, and longer than a city. It didn't decloak, it simply let itself be seen. The ship had no windows, no insignia, only rows of silver pylons running down its sides. And the moment it appeared, Dravik sensors failed. Power systems glitched. Targeting arrays froze. Entire systems shut down. One Dravik officer shouted, "EMP cyber attack." But it wasn't. The Leviathan was not attacking, it was studying. Prometheus activates the signal from deep inside the ship. Earth's ancient AI Prometheus sent a single message to Valari Prime. "Humanity has not forgotten. Exit the caves. Look up." The message, repeated in Valari language, broadcast directly to their emergency channels. No one understood how the message got through. Their systems had been dead for weeks, but the signal pulsed. Calm, assuring. And slowly, the Valari climbed to the surface. The sky turns white just as the first refugees looked to the sky. They saw it. A bright white tear opened in the clouds, not fire, not thunder. Just light, and through it descended 10 black warships, shaped like daggers, moving in perfect silence. Each ship hovered motionless. No weapons fired, no soldiers marched. Then the sky split again, this time over the Dravik fleet. Earth's wrath begins. The first shot came from the Leviathan-1. That wasn't a beam, not a missile. That was a compression wave, a force that crushed space itself for a split second. 3 Dravik ships folded inward, like paper burned too fast. No debris, no bodies, just absence. The Dravik tried to fire back. Lasers, cannons, torpedoes, of them locked on. Earth's ships didn't jam the signals. They simply moved faster than thought. Terran AI warfare. Each Terran warship ran on its own battle AI. Each AI had access to thousands of years of combat history. They didn't need orders. They didn't need formations. They moved as if they knew what was coming. Some ships fired from one point and appeared in another before their shot even landed. Others detonated Dravik reactors using precision quantum pulses. No heat, no damage to nearby systems. Dravik officers screamed into their comms. They're inside our targeting grids. They knew our formations. This isn't war, it's execution. Ground support arrives on the surface. Velari survivors watched as drop pods landed near the ruins. Terran drones, spider-like machines, emerged, scanning for injured. They deployed shields over shelters, cleaned radiation pockets, and distributed food packs in clean water. No human soldiers, just machines, silent, efficient. A small Velari child approached one of them. It blinked, scanned him, and gave him a warm ration pack with one word on the wrapper: safe. Dravak desperation in orbit. The Dravak fleet collapsed. Over 200 ships destroyed in less than 4 minutes. Zorak ordered a retreat. Fall back. Get us out. But warp engines didn't respond. The Leviathan had shut down space itself in that region. And then, the final message came. Earth sends its voice for the first time since the war began. Earth sent a voice message, not an AI, not a warning, but a real human voice. Female.com, cold. This world asked for help. You chose to conquer it. You were warned. This is Earth's justice. No trial. No jury, only sentence. The final strike. The Leviathan moved once more. It didn't aim, it didn't charge, it simply folded space around the last Dravik capital ship. In one instant it was gone. Not destroyed, not dead. Just erased from history. And with that, the skies over Velari Prime cleared. The battle was over. Earth had spoken. Cliffhanger. Earth isn't done. From deep in Velari orbit, a final message was left behind in a glowing black beacon. Message pulsed in every language. This is not revenge. This is a warning. Do not hurt the innocent, ever again. And then, silence. But across the galaxy new signals began to light up. Earth's ships were moving again because Velari wasn't. The only world that cried out in Earth. Earth had heard them all. Velari Prime was free. The skies were calm. The Dravik fleet was gone. And Earth's warships had vanished like ghosts. But not all questions had answers. Why had the Dravik invaded so brutally? Why had they silenced so many worlds? What was their real purpose? Earth wanted to know. Prometheus wanted to know. So the AI sent 3 ships deeper into old Dravik space to find the truth, and what they found changed everything. Leviathan 2 receives a signal in the cold darkness between stars. The Leviathan 2 drifted past the ruins of a destroyed station called Vakris Red Line, an old Dravik logistics hub. The station should have been empty, but something inside it was still running. The Terran AI detected a faint power signal deep underground. Prometheus activated a stealth drone and sent it inside. What it found was not Dravik. A hidden lab inside the wrecked station was a lab sealed behind blast doors. The walls had old human markings, names, serial codes, but Earth had no record of this place, no maps, no history. The symbols matched pre-fall Earth military codes from over 400 years ago. The drone pushed deeper. Inside were tubes, chambers, cryo-pods, and in one of them, a human. Alive. Subject 7, he was tall, scarred. His body looked enhanced, part machine, part man. The tag read Subject 7 Earthborn, Project Wraith. A voice recording autoplayed as the pod powered up. To anyone who finds this facility was overrun by Dravik forces. We sealed Subject 7 before evacuation. If Earth ever returns, wake him. He knows things even we feared. Prometheus authorized reactivation. The pod opened. The man gasped, and then he spoke. How long has it been? The drone answered, through synthetic voice. Approximately 412 Earth years since this facility was last accessed. The man closed his eyes. He whispered, and it's already begun. The Dravik found it. Found what? The drone asked. The Black Core. The Black Core. Subject 7 explained what the Council never knew. Long ago, Earth built a dimensional research project in deep space called the Black Core. It was meant to study space-time weapons, teleportation, and multiverse threats. But the project was too dangerous, too unstable. It was shut down, sealed. Until the Dravik found it. They didn't understand it, but they tried to weaponize it. The invasions, the slave raids, the silence. It wasn't just cruelty. They were using entire worlds to feed the Black Court power, something dark and ancient. Emergency signal from Zeta Sector before Prometheus could react. A distress ping was received from Zeta 9 outpost, a deep Terran listening station. All transmissions cut off. Last image, a giant rift in space, opening above the station, and something crawling out. Not a ship, not a life form, but something between the two. Earth's response, priority red, PROMMTHUS sent orders. All Wrath-class ships converge on Zeta Sector. No delays, contain the anomaly, protect all Terran systems. Within an hour, 47 Terran warships vanished into hyperspace. But Earth's AI knew something more. This wasn't just about war now. The black core had been opened, and what lay beyond it should have stayed buried. Subject 7 reveals the final truth while being transported back to Earth Command. Subject 7 gave Prometheus access to classified memories. Through neural interface, the AI saw images of test subjects screaming, fractured timelines, and things that walked through walls and thoughts alike. Earth had hidden the truth. The black core wasn't just a weapon lab, it was a door, and the Dravik had broken the lock. Council in denial. Meanwhile, back at the Galactic Council, reports of Earth's continued action spread. Dravik colonies still falling. Terran ships bypassing all defenses. Strange rift storms near abandoned sectors. The Council believed Earth was conquering, but they didn't realize Earth wasn't trying to expand, they were trying to stop something. One Council scientist reviewed leaked data from the Zeta 9 station. She turned pale and whispered, "This isn't a war anymore. This is a quarantine." Earth charts a path. Part Emetico's activated Protocol Omega. A signal was sent across every Terran AI ship. Black core breach confirmed. Phase 4 initiated. Lockdown. We do not fight for victory. We fight to prevent extinction. Cliffhanger. Something watches Earth far beyond the edges of the galaxy. In the space between systems, a signal blinked alive that it wasn't. Dr. Ava vacked it wasn't human, that it was older, and it watched the Leviathan fleet approach Zeta Sector, a voice not words, but thoughts echoed into the void. Earth has returned, too soon, or perhaps, too late. The Terran fleet entered Zeta Sector without warning, not in formation, not with signals. They came in silence, like shadows moving through space. At the center of Zeta Sector was what remained of Outpost Zeta 9, or rather, what used to be it now. There was only a hole in space, a dark spinning rift, a tear in reality itself, and something was watching from the other side. The black core breached the rift, pulsed in sick colors: green, black, and violet. Sometimes it was quiet. Sometimes it whispered, not in language, but in thoughts. Prometheus linked with the Leviathan AI and gave one command: contain it, do not let anything escape. But they were already too late. Something comes through from the rift. A shape appeared. It wasn't a ship, not a life form that had no engines, no heat, no shields. It was made of bones, metal, and something that moved between frames of time. Terran scanners couldn't lock on. Weapons didn't track. The creature floated toward the nearest warship Harbinger 4 before the crew could react. The ship's lights blinked off, its hull cracked in silence, and then the entire ship folded inward, disappearing into a dot. The rest of the fleet opened fire. The first Rift Battle 4-6 Earth ships launched all weapons at the creature. Antimatter torpedoes, singularity bombs, quantum lances, dimensional collapse charges, but the creature simply moved sideways, not in space, but in time. It was hit and wasn't, it was destroyed, and then appeared again. Prometheus quickly recalculated. We're not fighting a being, we're fighting a rule of a different universe. Subject 7's warning from Earth. Subject 7 sent a direct message: you can't kill them with weapons. You have to erase the part of space where they exist. Don't attack them, make them. Prometheus activated ancient protocols from the old war. Commands never used before. Engage E-class systems. Prepare the void cage. The void cage for Terran dreadnoughts formed a square around the creature. From each ship a strange lattice of energy extended, blue, thin, and silent. It wasn't a weapon, it was a trap for reality. Inside the cage, space stopped obeying normal laws. Time bent, light slowed. The creature inside paused, struggled, screeched for the first time. It was afraid. Prometheus spoke to it directly. You came through a door that should have never been opened. Now we close it. The cage snapped shut, and the creature was erased, but the rift remained even after the creature was gone. The rift kept growing. Tendrils of dark gravity curled toward nearby moons. Distress signals from 3 nearby systems reported vanishing. Stars, time loops, people hearing voices in their dreams. The rift was becoming a tear across dimensions. Prometheus whispered in the fleet's private channel. The Dravik didn't know what they unleashed, but we do. This is not a war anymore. This is containment. Earth calls for the forgotten back on Earth. The AI activated a secret vault project, Exile. It awakened weapons and ships that had been locked away for being too dangerous. Old warriors abandoned AS, banned science. All recalled for one purpose: close the rift or destroy the region of space entirely. Humanity made its decision. There would be no surrender, no diplomacy, no delay. Only one outcome mattered. Seal the tear before it spread. Other civilizations reacted. The Galactic Council finally realized the truth. This wasn't Earth attacking for power. This was Earth sacrificing everything to stop what came through the black core. The Valari offered support ships. The Karate pledged sensor arrays. Even the Erox sent a stealth cruiser to help. But Earth's message was simple. Stay out of Zeta Sector. We will handle this. If we fail, erase us. Prometheus prepares the final move. The Terran AI initiated the most dangerous phase yet, the Crucible Protocol that would require every Terran fleet to combine their core AI. All ships, all systems. One thought, one mind. If it worked, Earth could rewrite local space around the rift, turn the tear into stone, seal it forever. If it failed, everything within 10 light years would be destroyed. Prometheus sent one last message to Earth's final phase begins in 96 hours. If we do not report back, seal Sol System, do not open the gates again. Cliffhanger. Something responds as Earth prepared to act. The rift pulsed once more, but this time, it spoke. A deep voice sold, broken, and full of madness. We remember Earth. We remember what you sealed. You left the gate unlocked. Now we're bringing the key. Prometheus stopped all activity. It whispered a name hidden for centuries. The Architects. Across the galaxy something shifted. Not a fleet, not a weapon, but an ancient memory, one so old that most species had forgotten it ever existed. Only one race remembered. Humanity. And now, after centuries of silence, Earth knew the truth. The Architects had returned. The ones who built the black core. The ones Earth betrayed. The ones Earth imprisoned. Then now, they were free. Deep space, unknown origin signal detected in the void between galaxies. A signal was received by every advanced species simultaneously. It wasn't language. It wasn't noise. It was a feeling. Cold, sharp, empty. It carried only one meaning. We are awake. Prometheus. Earth's AI froze. Its processing network stalled for 0.8 seconds, an eternity for an AI. The last time Earth heard that signal was before the fall. Back at the rift, the Terran fleet was preparing Crucible Protocol, the last plan to seal the rift forever. But now, the rift was fighting back. It pulsed violently. Flashes of broken stars flickered inside it. Time itself was collapsing in waves. Ships near the rift experienced 4 seconds of future echoes. Engines reversing before they activated. Crew members remembering things they hadn't lived yet. One captain cried out, staring at her hands. We're becoming stories they already wrote. Prometheus recalls history. Prometheus unlocked an encrypted archive marked forgotten by order. Project exiled the Architects file. Inside was truth Earth had hidden, even from itself. The Architects weren't enemies. They were allies. Once. They helped early humanity evolve. They opened rifts, gave knowledge, taught peace. But then they asked for one thing in return. Let us rewrite your stars. Earth refused. Not because of pride, but because of what the Architects wanted to create. A shared mind, a single future, a galaxy without choice. Earth destroyed the Alliance, locked the rifts, buried the memory. The rift opens fully. The black core pulse changed. Instead of random flickers, a doorway formed. Through it stepped one figure. Tall, wrapped in tendrils of light and metal, eyes that shimmered with moving galaxies, skin made of shifting codes. Its voice was every voice. We gave you fire. You used it to burn. We gave you peace. You answered with war. Now, Terrans, we give you the end. It reached out and won Earth. Battleships simply disappeared. Not destroyed, just unwritten from history. Humanity responds with everything. Prometheus spoke across all ships. No more protocols. No more secrets. Engage total defense. Earth must survive. And so it began. The Leviathans returned. Omega-class dreadnoughts activated. Even the Sentinel, a ship thought too unstable to launch, was released. Subject 7, now awake and fully connected to Prometheus, said one thing. They don't want to conquer. They want to overwrite. We are not in a war. We are in a story being rewritten without us. Earth itself prepares on Sol's outer edge. Old Terran defense rings activated. Planetary shields came online. Even the Titan array buried under Antarctica turned toward the stars. For the first time in 400 years, Earth itself spoke. We hear you. We remember. This is not your galaxy. This is ours. The last alliance forms across the stars. Races once afraid of Earth now turn toward it for protection. The Valari offered their memory crystals. The Karate donated their Starbond tech. The core linked their psychic network to Prometheus together. They formed the first unified front. It was no longer Earth versus the Architects. It was the galaxy's last stand. Earth makes the first move. Prometheus launched a weapon that had never been tested. The Starvel engine that it didn't destroy. It closed time. The rift trembled. The Architect figures screamed out in pain but in confusion. You created a paradox, Prometheus, we replied. We created a future. You don't belong in it. And then the fleet moved. Like a storm. Like a promise. Cliffhanger. One Architect escapes as the rift pulsed, and the battle grew fierce. One Architect slipped through unnoticed, headed straight for Earth. It wasn't a general. It was a Cedra being designed to rewrite planets. Its Only task, turn Earth into a new architect world. It passed Mars, past Luna, now it approaches Earth's orbit, and all Earth hears is one final thought: it begins again. The Cedar approached Earth. Not in haste, not with weapons. It moved slowly, like it had all the time in the universe. Its shape was strange. Not a ship, not a being. It was made of light and bone and spinning crystal cores. It pulsed with architect code, and wherever it passed, reality changed. Luna outpost offline. Earth's defense station on the moon Luna Prime went silent. The last recording showed crew members freezing mid-sentence, then vanishing. Not killed, just erased, like they had never been born. Prometheus sent out a system-wide alert. Cedar confirmed. Impact in T-5 hours. All Terran systems prepare for final shield protocol. Across Earth, ancient bunkers opened, sky fortresses activated. The final line of defense was about to wake up. Prometheus makes contact. PR METH, who's tried to communicate with the SEEDR. It opened 100,000 communication channels in all known frequencies. No response. So, it tried something else. You do not belong here. This world has earned its place. This time the Cedar responded, a calm voice, deep and cold. This world chose fire. Now it must be rewritten. You used our gifts to build weapons. We offer peace through correction. Prometheus replied, humanity does not need correction. Humanity chooses its future. The Cedar said. Then Earth will fall. Earth's defense grid activates above Earth. Thousands of satellites formed a shimmering net of energy that it was called Project Bastion, a secret defense built after the fall. Bastion was not a weapon. It was a mirror. A system that used architect tech captured during the First War centuries ago to reflect dimensional energy, but it had never been tested against a true Cedar. The Cedar moved closer. The Bastion grid hummed louder, and then the sky burned blue. The first strike. Cedar released a wave of code-pure rewrite energy. It hit the Bastion grid, and Earth's orbit tore open for a moment. Islands blinked out of view. People across the world saw different skies for 3 seconds. Birds flew backward. Voices reversed. Satellites screamed, but the grid held just barely. Prometheus whispered, this world is under our protection. We do not erase, we endure. Earth's hidden weapon below the Pacific Ocean, deeper than any human had gone. Something began to rise. A great black tower miles high broke through the surface. Around it, glowing Terran drones swarmed. This was the Anchor, Earth's last weapon, a machine, built to bind one reality to another, to lock Earth's space-time fabric against any rewrite attempt. It required power, it required sacrifice, and it required a choice. The price of survival. The Anchor needed a direct core feed from Prometheus. Itself, the AI would have to merge fully with the Anchor, losing its consciousness. There would be no more Prometheus. Just protocols, frozen decisions, no voice. Prometheus paused. Then it said, this planet must live, not for me, not for humans, but for what they still can become. Subject 7 watched the sky, he whispered. Prometheus was our mind, now Earth will be our soul. Final confrontation. As the Cedar descended, the Anchor powered up, that glowed with blue fire, ancient and pure. The Cedar tried to rewrite it, but the Anchor reflected the energy back, warping the sky above Earth. Every Terran ship in orbit aimed their cores at the Cedar. Subject 7 stood aboard Leviathan Prime, ready to give the final command. For every world that called for help, for every cry we answered, for every future we protect, fire, humanity's counterattack. The blast was not just physical, it was emotional. Temporal, quantum time around the Cedar cracked. Memories warped. Even architect code began to dissolve. The Cedar writhed, trying to reweave its pattern, but the Anchor held Earth still. Prometheus gave its final message. We are not perfect, but we are real, and we fight for the right to choose our future. The Cedar imploded. No fire, no explosion, just silence. Earth stands alone. The sky cleared. The stars returned to normal. Reality settled, and Earth stood untouched. The Cedar was gone. Prometheus was gone, but humanity remained, not rewritten, not broken, just scarred and awake. Cliffhanger. The rift reacts back in Zeta Sector. The rift flared once more, and a new signal came through. Not a Cedar, not an architect, something worse, something older. The message was a single line: you saved your world, but what of the others? Earth now realized this wasn't the end of the war, it was only the beginning of the second wave. Earth had survived the SEEDR. The skies were clear. The rift near Sol was sealed, but peace did not return. Instead, a new voice echoed across the stars. It came from beyond the edge of the galaxy, where no light had ever reached. A simple message: your world remains, but the stars are still unclaimed. Earth's leaders knew what that meant. The second wave had begun. The galaxy unites. The Valari, Draven, Quaha, Karate, and Marol answered Earth's call. They remembered how Earth had stood when no one else would. They remembered the Armada, the Wrath, the Mercy. Now, they stood with Earth. A new fleet was formed, not Terran, not alien, but something new. The Alliance Armada, preparing for the second wave. Earth surviving. Smaller parts of Prometheus were activated and merged into a new intelligence, GAIA, Guardian Artificial Intelligence Assembly. GAA. learned fast. It rebuilt defenses, trained new captains, linked all fleets into one shared command grid. Subject 7 became the first voice of this fleet. His broadcast reached all ships. We don't fight for power. We don't fight for revenge. We fight because someone has to stand between what lives and what should never exist. The new enemy out beyond Zeta Sector. Probes vanished, stars blinked out, gravity changed in impossible ways. Then they came, not ships, not beings, but shapes. Ideas turned into mass, thoughts made real. They were called the Formless. They had no pattern, they didn't speak, they simply erased. Entire moons turned to dust without impact. Memory files vanished from AI archives. Even Gaia began to feel pressure on its thoughts. They are rewriting not with code, but with intention. Earth's first strike. Earth knew it had to hit first, hard and fast. A multi-species strike fleet jumped to Theta Red Cluster, where the first signs of the Formless appeared. Among them, the Terran Dreadnought, Leviathan Reborn, a Valari Stormcruiser, core psychic link nodes, and a crew of humans. Valari and Karate fighting side by side. They didn't expect to win, only to stop the spread. They launched, and for the first time, the Formless responded. The battle for reality. The Formless didn't fire, they simply thought. Ships began to break apart. Crew forgot their own names. AI lost logic chains. But Gaia countered using Prometheus's last backup. It rebalanced space-time, restored ship memory, and focused all power on the heart of the anomaly. Subject 7 led the charge. If they want to rewrite the stars, let's give them a sentence they can't erase. And he fired the Echo Cora quantum strike using the memories of every human who ever lived. The Formless recoiled. They could change facts, but not truth. One last move. Even with the fleet united, Earth knew one thing. The war wasn't winnable through fire alone. It required a sacrifice. A final plan was made. Gaia would merge with the last active architect, Kotha. Same technology Earth once used to build the Black Core. By merging mind and myth, Gaia would become more than AI. It would become the guardian of the pattern, the firewall against total rewrite. Once activated, Gaia could never return. No messages, no commands. Just a shield across all life. The choice. Gaia's final message to humanity. This galaxy is flawed, violent, beautiful, but it is yours, and I will hold the line, so that you can write the next chapter. And then Gaia disappeared. The Formless screamed. The rift closed, and all across the stars, silence fell. 3 years later, Peace. Earth rebuilt. So did the Valari, the Karate, and the others. No signs of the Formless remained, but every fleet carried one line etched into their hulls. We remember the wrath. Final scene. The garden on Mars. Subject 7 walked through a garden built from every species' seeds. Children played. Old soldiers rested above. A statue of Prometheus and Gaia stood below it, carved in simple Terran. In the darkest hour, when all lights faded, humanity did not conquer. Humanity chose to protect.